So we're gonna try a new thing where Terry just says, "Welcome to this episode of." We talked about it on the way over. I'm like, after 67 episodes, we can get this introduction right.
Good day and welcome
To
another exciting episode of Living Well Together.
Big life in a small town.
Yeah, large life, small town.
There, we did it. Good job, babe. High five
like
me.
a punch in the
High
throat.
five me. High five me. Will ya?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We have a special guest with us today.
in fact,
Yeah, John Hardin, personal trainer
extraordinaire.
extraordinaire. That's right.
To the stars.
Yes.
Got it.
Tell us about your
Wow.
story, John.
So what are you looking for?
Let's just start from the beginning. Like, where did you grow up? Let's start there.
I grew up in Dayton. I was born in Dayton, born here, never really left. And I grew up right in North Dayton, Vandalia School District.
Nice. And you went to high school there? And
I did for a while. I moved around between a bunch of different high schools near the end there. But yeah, it was a nice area, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Did you enjoy high school?
Looking back, I think I enjoyed weird things about it. Okay. I think I enjoyed it, but you wouldn't have known it if you knew me back then. You would just think, oh, this guy hates high school.
He is. He is just muddling through.
Yeah, definitely. So,
Did you play sports, or was there anything about school that you liked in particular?
So I definitely got in trouble a lot in school.
Okay.
Had a lot of growing up to do. And for that reason, I was never allowed to play sports. I loved sports.
Wait a minute, what kind of trouble? Like pipe bombs in your locker trouble? Or
No,
I
didn't think of that one. Dang.
It's a good thing you guys didn't know each other.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, there are varying degrees of trouble. There's, criminal enterprise, and then there's just ornery kids.
Yeah, no. I think I had great parents that loved me. They just didn't know how to teach me conflict resolution, so I never knew how. So whenever I would get messed with in school, I would retaliate way too much, and I'd get in trouble. It's like it was not proportional in any way. The staff would get onto me a little, but for some reason, even at that young age, I had fun with the conflict. So, like I said, I had a lot of growing up to do.
You had fun with the conflict. That's interesting.
When I met my mentor a few years after I graduated high school, he got me reading hundreds of self-help books, and everything in my life got better, pretty quickly. So,
how did you meet your mentor? We'll skip around a little bit here.
So it's real simple. It was Amway. It was like a multi-level marketing type deal. Okay. If I had not been for the motivation of wanting to make more money, I don't think I would have made some of those very much needed changes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, you hear about people forming mentorships in multi-level marketing companies, but Amway specifically, they've been around for a really long time.
Oh, yeah.
And they know how to mentor. And they know if somebody really wants to take their lives to the next level, they do give you the tools to make that possible.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What kind of books?
Some of the ones I loved the most early on, I liked 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think it's because Stephen Covey almost makes a mechanical process for managing your success on a daily basis. And for me, my attitude is I like having a process. I like having a formula that you can follow every day and get exactly what you want every day. So I really liked that book. I really liked some of the books that talked to you about how to pick your career and things like that.
Nice.
None of the guys who I was around during those times, none of them are in Amway anymore. Okay. But we all have started our own businesses. We all were horrible employees. Getting in trouble was the norm between us, I guess. Yeah. But we one guy started a roofing business, another guy started an insurance business. I'm a personal trainer. The only guy who technically is still an employee is the guy who started us all on this path. He's a professor down at UC, and I think he just wants to be. I don't.
Got it.
So,
yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So, are you still friends with all these people that you started on?
When we see each other out in public, it's just instant, hey, how have you been? Because we all went through such a life-changing experience all together that put us all on a better path.
Because of Amway.
Well, because I'm gonna give the credit to our mentors, Robert Miller. We all called him JR.
Okay.
He's the guy who really helped us out the most, and we all still talk to him. Not as often as we did back then, but he would. Like, for example, just a few months after I met the guy, I told him I didn't have a predictable way to get down to, a conference he wanted me to go to. So he's like, oh, just take my car. And then I drive to his house and he says, yeah, the keys are in the mailbox. I realize it's his Mercedes. I'm like, dude, I'm not the best driver in the world. I'm not driving this thing.
Even though it was a predictable mode of transportation.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was like, I don't want to do that.
How old were you?
It does not, I was 20 at the time, but it does not matter. I got my license at 19 and a really bad driver is the one who taught me. So I had multiple car accidents. Yeah.
Which does kind of, that does come up in 2013. Should we jump to there? Can we talk a little bit about your childhood health issues?
Actually, I'm still on the mentor thing.
Okay, go.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, because this is a person who gave you the keys to a Mercedes and knew you how well. Scale of 1 to 10. 10, I know you really well. 1, I don't know you at all. But here's a person who's willing to invest time and energy and resources because this person clearly saw something in you that was valuable.
I don't know how he could have known me super well by then, which is part of why I was so sold on him as a person that early on. He was willing to do things that
people
nobody
over
else.
Things.
Yes.
People over things for sure.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of things he did that sold me on just listening to whatever he said.
Yeah.
Age gap, how much older is he than you?
I know it's over a decade.
Okay.
I'm a horrible friend apparently because I don't know the exact one, but but
really.
yeah, he was. It's definitely over 10 years. You wouldn't know it if you look at him. He looks way younger than his age. He's into fitness and all that good stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, I believe today he's between 50 and 60 years old. I believe.
Okay, but he saw something in you, and apparently your gang, your group, that was worth investing in and worth spending time with, and potential probably for the future that you guys didn't realize at the time.
I don't think almost any of us did. No, we all came
awesome.
from very predictable backgrounds. I don't think any of us grew up with a father. Okay. Yeah, it was very similar stories for all of us. Most of us had behavioral issues as young kids. Most of us needed the kind of help he was giving us, and we all are better off for it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And he set you on a path that,
absolutely.
oh my gosh, it's so cool. I love it. It just
How
makes me
long
so
did you
happy.
do the direct selling, the Amway program?
Until I decided I wanted to be a personal trainer.
Oh.
One of the books that I read, I already mentioned 7 Habits. There was another book after that called The 8th Habit.
Okay.
It was kind of like set up as a sequel or whatever. And it had a lot to do with choosing your vision, your purpose, that sort of thing. And I think that book combined with a few others made me decide that I wasn't into that direct selling thing anymore, that I wouldn't be happy doing it.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing now, I'm very happy doing.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
what
How
a
long have you been doing that?
gift.
It's just a little over a decade.
Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So in your childhood, you mentioned that physical and mental health challenges that you had when you were little?
Yes. So I think most of them were caused by just not being able to have, like, frankly, higher quality groceries in the house, more expensive groceries, whatever. Some of it may be just because your parents don't know what they don't know. Right. So once I moved out on my own and started being able to afford my own groceries and spoiling myself, quote unquote, with, grapes, fresh chicken. I don't know. I loved it at the time. Anyway, a lot of these sicknesses just started going away. Seasonal allergies that I started treating with different food choices, things like that, because I've always had horrible allergies, and living in Dayton, that's even worse.
Valley, yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, once I started realizing I can take care of a lot of my own issues by messing with my diet a bit, it just was a nice life-changing thing. And that's what got me into fitness, because I felt like I was being a waste of time, inefficient, eating well, but not working out. So there.
So you needed to enter in this other element.
Yeah, I just wanted to. It seemed like, well, I'm doing everything else. Why not?
Well,
Why
some
not
of the
lift
reading
weights?
that you mentioned would probably steer you in a more fitness-oriented mind as well.
Some of it, yes. They would mention it off and on. But I don't think a lot of those self-help books really went into how to do it most effectively.
Okay.
They would just say, hey, get your heart rate up 30 minutes a day or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they gave you the what, but not the how.
Yeah, because that's not what they were.
Right.
That's not what these authors specialized in. So, but once I started going down that other rabbit hole, I had fun with it, and I found out I liked that more. I liked that aspect more than really diving in on trying to fix every little ailment I had when I was younger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you get how do you get certification in personal training?
So there's a few big certifying bodies that are well known. NASM, ACE are probably the top two, and I went through NASM, but that's really just the beginning. That's the equivalent of, if you were to if you wanted to get a referral to a heart surgeon, and I were to tell you a certain name, and you'd just say, "Oh, that's great. Why do you like them?" And I'd be like, "Well, they're licensed." You'd be like, "Well, anything else?"
Can we have some reviews?
So that's kind of like how it is if you're just certified as a trainer. That's really just the beginning. You really need to deep dive into other things. So the more important ones that I've kind of worked toward after that, there's a precision nutrition with Dr. John Berardi. This is that it teaches nutrition coaching, but from a habit-based perspective, because not everyone is going to do the perfect thing. You could give the perfect program to somebody, the one that would get them the very best results, and it might be the worst program for them because it's going to make them do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Makes sense? So his whole coaching program has to do with working with fitness professionals and teaching them how to help others make a lasting change, even if it involves not doing everything perfectly right out of the gate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But that's the sort of thing that, that those extra certifications or just continuing education period is what tends to matter a whole lot more to me in my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's what helps you to see results with your clients, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's not a one size fits all. You're taking a look at each client's needs and a little bit about their personalities too. I mean, does that come into play?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll know really, really quick where how far I can push things with different people, because after working with so many different people over the years, you're just like, all right, I know what's going to happen if I do this. Sometimes I'll purposely throw like jokes or something out there right away, just to see where people are at and kind of figure them out a little quicker.
Test the waters.
I do a lot with a lot of people. And another thing is you got to let people know who you are, because if you don't let people know who you are, then it's really hard for them to trust you. So one of my closest clients, she and I are very, very oppositely aligned politically or whatever.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter because we just joke about it because we're able to get along with that. So if she didn't know that stuff about me, if she felt like I was always hiding it around her or catering to her or whatever, we wouldn't have the kind of relationship we have now. There's times where that client comes out. I try to plan things with my clients where they get together outside of the gym and stuff like that.
That's fun.
And she's shown up to those, even though, nobody else in that group probably
We have
probably
different
would agree with her on
ideas, but
things.
we can all get along.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be a nice, what a grand idea that would be?
I mean,
for a
that
nation.
really is impressive that you're able to do that with your clients, work with all of them and still be able to get along with all of them, regardless of what kind of beliefs and things they have going on.
Well, I mean, I feel like if you can joke about it and people don't want to rip each other's head off right away, I figure it's okay after that.
I saw an interview once with Michael Jordan, and they were talking about politics, because a lot of celebrities and athletes and all that, they will express their political views. And somebody was kind of ragging on Michael Jordan, like, why don't you express your political views? And he said, well, because Republicans need to buy shoes too.
Yeah, true, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's really no need to, you can still work both sides of the aisle and people can get along.
Right.
Yeah, that's a brilliant strategy.
So you had a high-speed car accident in 2013.
Yes.
And you, that seemed to propel you forward into this corrective fitness. That's how you turned it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I already was heavily interested in fitness and everything at that time. Wasn't sure I was completely sold yet on like making a real big career out of it. I just knew I wanted to do it. But this guy in Beaver Creek, he was a highway patrol officer. So he was from the Xenia outpost, but he was driving through Beaver Creek. Highway patrol officer was going as fast as he could get his cruiser to go. He was just, hey, a car without a limiter. Let's see what this thing can do.
You mean just for fun?
Just for fun. He
no
was
lights
not,
on?
No lights, no sirens, nothing. Middle of the night, 2 a.m. This was on April 2nd, 2013. And so the guy was just going as fast as he could. And my brother, I was in the car with my brother. He was trying to turn off of 35 onto Shakertown. We're part of the reason I'm sure that intersection no longer exists.
Yeah.
And as he was making that turn, he couldn't judge possibly that the cop was going triple the speed limit or whatever he was going.
Exactly.
So he smashed in. We estimate that he was able to slow down to about 100 before impact.
Oh my!
And so we were instantly knocked out.
Oh my gosh!
I got I got some. My hip was injured. My shoulder was injured. Lacerated spleen. My brother had a broken neck.
Oh my gosh.
He was thrown from the car. Had road rash. He got it way worse than I did for sure.
But you guys are both still alive.
Yeah, we're both still alive. We're both just fine.
It is wild.
Yeah.
What about the officer?
The officer hit head on, so he actually wasn't hurt near as bad. We were hit on the side. He hit head on. I'm guessing he was knocked out right away too. I would imagine, but
he's still alive.
He's still alive. So as you can imagine, it takes a while when you sue the state, but we eventually did get money and
compensated.
Car. Yeah, we eventually got compensated.
Right.
But nothing makes you be able to walk around and do things normally. So neither of us, for different reasons, my brother with a broken neck, me with a lacerated spleen, both of us had restrictions on we were not allowed to lift weights anymore. And both me and him were big into lifting weights. We were not allowed. I had a broken jaw, so my face was wired shut. I could only drink liquids, and when you do that, you're not wanting to drink as many calories, obviously.
Yeah.
You do all the weird stuff. You're just like, hey, can I liquefy a pizza?
Did you do it? Did you try?
I tried. It's horrible.
Macaroni and cheese.
It was not macaroni and cheese, but there's some dumb stuff I did. But I lost a bunch of weight. I went down from over 200 to around 150, I believe.
Whoa. Yeah.
And so I had already lost all that, the muscle. I lost mobility. I developed a scapular dyskinesis and piriformis syndrome at the same time, and had to work past that as well. And because I had already kind of been looking into everything, and I knew how to start the process of learning what I needed to do to get out of it. So now I can't feel any of it. I still have to manage it. Still have to make sure it doesn't come back, but. That's kind of part of what got me into corrective exercise. And those just happen to be two of the most common issues that clients come in with, by the way.
Both the things that you're dealing with.
Yes. So it's helped me so many times.
Yeah. Because if you live it and you use yourself as a guinea pig to figure out solutions, you can share it with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad that you guys are okay. That sounds really crazy, that accident.
Oh yeah, but like I said, we both came out of it okay, and it did help me to kind of work with people more on corrective exercise. For a while, that was almost the top thing that people would see me for a while.
That's fun too. And you said that you actually felt strong. You feel stronger and healthier than you did now than when you were in your 20s. It
keeps on happening, actually. It keeps on happening. One of my from my previous mentorship that I was in, one of my business coaches or whatever you want to call them, they were telling me that I needed to lose body fat so I could get some better pictures taken for my landing page or whatever, right?
Okay.
And I've never cared about, I've never done competitions.
Right.
I've never cared to. Every single time I would get a client who would come in and ask about that, usually I'd refer him to another one, which is part of the reason I got a bodybuilding certification last year. But when they told me to do that, I was like, fine, I'll just do whatever. And so I start taking down fat. And the whole time that I was doing this, almost the entire time off and on, I was able to take the weight I was lifting higher while losing the body fat. So, I mean, this is probably better shape than I was in when I was in my 20s. Yeah. So I just
How'd the
feel
pictures
like
come out?
Actually, I switched up mentorship, and the new one hasn't asked for pictures.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I might
So
just.
you did all that for no pictures?
No, I'm probably still going to do it.
Okay. All right.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to do all that work for nothing.
Smart.
So when you're working with clients, who is your ideal client right now?
Well, because I'm trying to launch the online portion of what I'm doing.
Oh, tell us about that.
So when I'm trying to launch a signature program where I get a lot more involved with what my clients are doing on the nutrition side, I'm trying to be more hands off on the workouts. Like it's asynchronous communication. So they're doing the workout when I'm not around, but if they need to send me any videos of their form or whatever, they're doing that. There's a lot of online coaches doing this.
Yes.
But
1 to many versus 1 to 1.
Yeah. Well, yeah, which is fine, but everything that I'm doing for these men is still going to be customized. It's still going to be specific to them. And I'm kind of mixing it because what I've noticed after working with my clients over the years is we get into these different discussions about different subjects and everything. And when it comes to especially the subject of intergender relationships, when I'm talking to my male clients and they're talking to me about dating or whatever, I've had a few clients whose their short-term or in some cases long-term lives have been changed just because of having those discussions with me. Not because I'm an expert, not by any means, but a few years ago, I met somebody who kind of helped me in that area of my life, and they set me on a path with that. And so now it's one of my favorite things to talk about. So now me and him are trying to launch this program where we're kind of combining men's coaching with fitness. Is what we're doing.
Amazing. So right now, currently, you see clients in a gym. Is that true?
I do. I also have a few online, but yeah.
And you have some online. So you've already launched the online business and you're kind of dabbling right now and waiting to see what happens?
I've already done the dabbling. I haven't done a really awesome launch yet. Because it's not like analysis paralysis. It's that I'm trying to do it in such a way to where I can know it's going to be done right. Yeah. And I haven't felt confident with the way a couple of mentorships I've joined have kind of walked me through it. I haven't felt confident with it yet. This one I'm doing right now, I'm pretty confident with the way they're doing it. So chances are I'm going to do a big push for it. Yeah. Here in about, I think it's 8 weeks, something like that.
Oh, perfect. So, yeah, because this episode will launch probably in a month or so. So
nice.
That'll be right around the same time.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yay, that'll be perfect. When you do, most of your clients right now come to the gym to work out with you?
A lot of them do. I have a lot of in-person clients who come to the gym and work out with me. I also have a lot of clients who only see me twice a month. And like maybe a week at a time, and then they go 3 weeks on their own, and then I do the whole online thing with them already. So this is not going to be a really difficult thing for me to offer to these men. It's not going to be hard at all.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
part
really
fitness
exciting.
and part like therapy.
Not really therapy, and I would never claim it's therapy. As a matter of fact, for a lot of if I were to use an example of one of my clients, he figured out he was in his 50s, and as a man in his 50s, he was following a lot of rules that they don't work today, especially
don't
if they're
apply.
There's online dating, and a lot of the things that people expect have changed. So he's doing a lot of the things that seem nice, that would have seemed nice to people decades ago, but today might make him seem like he's really, really, as if there's a thing as trying too hard. I don't know. I'm trying to be nice about this.
I totally get it. But be completely honest and open, because we want to understand where you're going with this. And so trying too hard.
Well, the thing is, he was thinking a lot. He was like, well, why is there a problem with me? Like he felt weird about dating multiple people at once, for example. Just little things that he was concerned about. He would get really, really into one person he was seeing, and then that one person would be able to depress him a whole lot if they didn't reciprocate the way he felt and all this. And it was just these highs and lows. And once he started handling it a different way, he got really, really confident. He started handling that part of his life better. And then he came to the epiphany that he does not want to date. And all of a sudden he's good now. And that's big stressor in his life went away. Yeah. I'm not saying that's the goal, but
for him it was.
But that's not therapy. It was actually like, here, action, solution, enjoy whatever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how the Trent, the guy who I met, he's from Cincinnati area, and he kind of is the one who started me in all this for my own benefit in my personal life. He runs a men's group of like almost 11,000 people.
Oh my goodness!
And
wow.
he's the guy that kind of is helping with all this.
Is there a spiritual tone to the group? Is there a religious tone to the group?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Not that he has anything against it, not that I do.
Right.
I think he's just trying to stay strictly to, hey, this is the way it needs to work.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. And one of the things that you mentioned in your notes is that, they come to the gym and you guys are working out, but it naturally leads to these conversations about personal lives and how they can, build their confidence up and just take care of themselves. That just naturally happens.
Yeah, and it's not all about like there's conversations that have been started about obviously health. That there's times people will talk to me about their business or money, but the thing about their dating lives that comes up a lot too. Everything comes up in between sets. You've got if you've got time between workouts, you're setting up another exercise you're about to do. Yeah. And they want to tell me things, it's just the way it works.
Yeah. And you probably did you realize when you got into this that's what would happen?
No, I probably was the idiot who thought, well, we're here to work out. Let's just
how about you shut up and let's just do another set?
I never did that because I at least understood that was rude. But I for some reason, when I started all this, I was like, oh, it's going to be fun helping people get to the next level in their fitness. And it is fun. It is great. But naturally, they bring up everything.
So it's mental and emotional fitness. How about that? It's not therapy. It's mental fitness.
Oh, mental
as a component of your physical fitness.
When you fix anything in your life, when you tackle anything, I mean, it's gonna make things better. Like right now, for myself, I have to do it because one thing I'm struggling with right now is a lack of sleep. And I felt guilty about it. It's like, dang, I know how to manage this. I'm just not doing it. Well, what's keeping me up every night is the excitement of working on this thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it's like,
totally get it.
After I let go of the guilt, it's like, do I really need to feel bad for not wanting to sleep right now? Like I'm not getting much sleep, but I'm excited. I'm working on things,
You getting 5 hours? 5 hours?
Exactly. That's the average, I think. How did you know? It's like you've lived this.
Well, maybe it's one of those things. When I have been really excited in a project time in my life, it's about 5 hours and I can function. You probably function totally well, don't you?
I'm doing it right now. I took a little bit of caffeine before I showed up here. But
okay.
I am doing it right now.
Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate you hanging in there with us.
Good deal. No, I feel great.
Let's see. What were you thinking about?
I'm just fascinated by the whole daggum thing. Actually, I'm thinking I need to hire you. That's what I'm actually really thinking.
That's because you do enjoy working out. Like you are a fitness guy.
And I don't even need... Yeah, I mean, working out, exercise on some level, whether it's calisthenic stuff at home or whether it's going to the Planet Fitness or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I just know it's smart. It's part of my 7 habits. I'll skip something else before I'll skip working out. And so
that's awesome.
And sometimes it is more productive than others. Sometimes you're going through the motions, and sometimes you're really pushing to see what we can get done. But one of the things, and I'm not going to even guess your age, but one of the things that I will tell you is that as time goes by, and body composition changes, the amount of work you got to put in to get actual outcomes changes. You know this, I'm sure. But to not do it is a suicide mission. You got to stay mobile. Even at just getting off the floor. I've had 2 people here in the practice just in recent history who couldn't get off the floor. Like they had a fall, which wasn't really even a huge injury. They just couldn't get up.
Yeah.
So it wasn't from the injury. They just couldn't get off the floor.
It's just a lack of mobility. It's poor joint function. It's obesity. It's, I mean, it's lifestyle stuff that is just driving people into the ground.
And that sort of stuff is actually my top motivation for keeping myself. It's not anything else. Right. It's not the goals that my coaches give me or anything like that. It's my big thing is I want to age well.
I want to get old really well. Yeah,
exactly.
100%. I mean, I think I look pretty good for 80.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good job, babe. Good job.
I'm 39, by the way, if that matters.
Are you really 39?
Yeah, I'm really 39.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
I wouldn't have guessed 39. I'm just
I'm a
so
horrible
bad.
guesser. I don't guess anymore.
We don't even guess.
I just don't.
We could guess when we were in our 30s and 40s, but we don't guess anymore.
Well, I used to think certain people were old, and now I don't think that anymore.
Oh, wow.
Well, I like what you say to your patients too about when they say that they're old. What do you say to them?
When they get old, I'll let them know.
Yeah.
Like, let's not talk about age. Let's just talk. When you're old, I'll tell you. Until then, you just keep moving. I'll let you
It
know.
can hold people back,
It's a mindset, largely.
What are the biggest challenges that you see with some of your male clients? And you are focusing on male clients.
Yeah. So for men specifically, you see a lot more issues with the most common compensation you see with both men and women is, the rolled back hips, the rolled forward shoulders, the protruding neck. I mean, that's like the common thing. That's like the thing that almost everybody has, right? Yeah. But it is worse in men than women, to a noticeable degree. If you want a man to come into the gym and do any sort of like deadlift, hip hinge of any kind, they're going to have a harder time with it than the average woman, like 9 out of 10 times.
Really?
And
why do you think that?
Why do you think that is?
I would guess it's just the difference in the distribution of body weight, habits from a day-to-day basis. If a man works like a manual labor job where there's a lot of work, repetitive motion in front of them or something like that, it's a little different. For example, I used to work on a freight dock, lots of overhead, weight moving and things like that. You're doing the same thing over and over again. Activating muscles that are typically more often than not overactive already. So I'm taking a guess on that, but you can just see it lots of times. Like if you see like a married couple come in and then, I'm working with both of them, I typically see the man protruding their neck more than the woman.
No question. And I think the opposite of what you're saying is also true. I think you're right as far as repetitive and overuse, but I think the desk and the computer have been the downfall of
absolutely
all things health.
Yeah.
TV, computer, seated posture.
Oh yeah. All these guys who work on the base and they work in front of a computer all day. It's usually when people tell you what they're doing, it. But on the flip side of that, if I see a woman who comes in and she's a stay-at-home, mom or whatever, I mean, not trying to say, that the women have it easier necessarily. I'm not trying to go that well, but they don't have as many of those things going on.
Right. Yeah.
They just don't, because it's not repetitive motion. It's a lot of things that they're doing. That's just chasing kids around and all that. And
keeps them active too in a way that's not scheduled or habitual, but just constant.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the men typically have that more, which means they need more upper back activation, more core work, and more glute work, right? To correct all of that. And those are some of the top issues I see with men versus women.
Yep.
You were talking about a client too, that you have a way of helping people not make things bad habits. Like you take them from making something that's difficult, like caloric deficit, and making it simple without having to count calories and macros.
Yes, but really they're just doing the same thing. If you say something to someone in a certain way, they can be taking the same exact action as somebody else who would stress themselves out.
Okay.
And not get stressed out.
Okay.
It's a lot of it is in the presentation. So if somebody's coming in and their main goal is weight loss,
right,
and they've always had a hard time doing it,
yes,
and they say, well, I tried taking pictures of my plate. I tried doing the plate portions. I tried doing hand portions. I tried doing intuitive eating, and I was like, okay, well, none of it worked, did it? Because to a degree, you're still shooting blindfolded. You're not hitting the target, and you don't really know what your intake is yet.
Okay.
So you say it in a certain way. You say, hey, I don't want you spending more than 5-10 minutes a day tracking your food. If it gets to be too difficult, then you're doing it wrong, and you walk them through the things that you already know are going to be difficult ahead of time. So like, for example, if they're eating something at home that doesn't have a scan code and the app can't scan it in or whatever, it's like, okay, well, here's how you very quickly, search on your phone, USDA nutrition facts. Here's how you pick the link that's most likely going to show the right thing. You show it to them while they're in front of you. That way they're not confused. You already know what issues they're going to have ahead of time. You get in front of it and you just say, hey, this is how you do it. And if it seems easy, then they're going to do it. If it doesn't seem easy, they're not going to tell you that they don't want to do
So
it right away.
the
They're going to find ways
frustration-
around it. Yeah.
You're talking about like in the moment when they're frustrated about that they can't find it on their app, and so by talking to them ahead of time, it's like here's another way that you can do it, and so it's no big deal.
Yeah, little things like that all along the way. Like you always set the expectation that it's supposed to be easy, and whether or not it's actually easy is irrelevant. The fact is they think it's easy, therefore it's easy.
Right.
Makes sense?
Yes.
100% of the time.
It's just the way, and if they failed with like 5 trainers before you, then chances are they didn't think it was easy, did they?
Right, exactly.
You know?
And good for them that they kept trying, because people give up on their dentist because they had a bad experience with the dentist, and then they never want to go, or chiropractors too, right, babe?
Oh, you know what, guys? They just keep you coming back.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of it's just, and also is not having them do things they don't have to do.
Right.
Like it's easy to say, hey, I wish everyone would eat this way, or I wish everyone would avoid these ingredients and all this stuff. But if you're not putting extra things on their plate, I once had a guy who I knew he was a heavy drinker before he started working with me. I knew him personally, and I knew he was a heavy drinker. He had bariatric surgery, had lost a bunch of weight through bariatric surgery.
Yeah.
The hard way.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They call that the easy way.
I agree.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that, all sorts of potential like malabsorption issues and stuff like
That's
that.
a game changer.
Yeah, definitely. But he had hit a plateau. And so I asked him when he came in, to work with me, because I knew he was a heavy drinker. But I asked him, what are some things you're willing to do, not willing to do? He said he wasn't willing to quit drinking. So I just said, fine, that's okay. That's a hard one. But I'll give you a protein goal and a calorie goal. And can you hit these 2 goals? And he did it.
Yeah.
He just took his protein intake way up every morning, kept his calories as low as possible. So he had the extra calories to drink every single night, basically, is what he did. Lost 25 pounds doing it, though,
Amazing.
so
Amazing.
That's fine.
That really is amazing, because normally people would say, if you're drinking, you're not going to lose weight, right?
No.
Hard, but you were able to find a way to make it work for him.
It's simple. As long as you're in a calorie deficit, typically you're going to lose weight.
Your output has to exceed your input.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah.
not that hard.
No. There's all sorts of ways to get there. There's just ways that I think are better and ways that I think are worse.
Yeah.
And
So would you like him to switch to celery juice? If it was up to you, would you have had him switch to celery juice?
Of course.
Can I put vodka in my celery too?
Yeah. No, I would have loved him to do it all, plenty of other ways than what he did, but it was what he was willing to do and not willing to do. And we all have those things. We just don't always bring them up. Someone has to, pull them out of us. There's lifestyle changes I wouldn't be willing to make.
Yeah.
The mentor wanted me to take the good pictures, right? But
Right.
I keep playing with my dog, and he keeps scratching up my arms.
Oh.
So,
So you're not going to stop playing with your dog.
Got to play with the dog, obviously. Got to get him worked up. Got to get him going crazy. But yeah,
That's funny. But it's really admirable that you work with your clients in a way that you just meet them where they're at. And I don't think that everybody can say that. And I just think that that's probably one of the reasons why you get the results, and that you have those long-term relationships with your clients too.
Oh yeah. The more difficult they are, the better the results are, because then I get a great review out of it. I tell them, I have a little testimonial thing I give to help them know how to write the review.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
And then to give them ideas of what they might want to write. And then once I do that, all that stuff comes out. It's like, well, I've worked with other trainers, and I don't know why I wasn't getting results and all this stuff. And usually, the more enthusiastic they are if they've failed before, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yes,
So
absolutely.
I love the problem children.
Problem children.
We've got an office full of those. I know exactly what you mean. And it is fun to watch things turn around.
Yeah.
And when you put people in charge, he's in charge of those changes. You can make all the suggestions in the world, but if he's not willing to make those changes, he doesn't get the outcome.
Yeah.
And when he does, it's a victory for both of you. It's a nice back and forth.
And that's one of the things that you said, you love it when people say to you that they look and feel better than they did in their 20s.
Oh yeah.
Those
I do
are
like
real
that.
results.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a few clients who could claim that right now for sure. So, yeah.
I think back to my 20s, it's like, 20s was good. I like my 30s better. than my 20s?
I can say the same.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're in your 30s.
Yep. Yep. I'll probably, and if I'm doing life right, I'll say the same thing in my 40s.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. And that's the way it should be. Like,
Yep.
our bodies do change and we take on different, a lot of extra gravity. Gravity does its thing over time, right, babe?
I don't
Is
know.
that what we talk about?
Maybe. I don't think the gravity gets stronger. I can't blame it on gravity.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your personal life a little bit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, so Nicole, my fiance, we were
Hi,
engaged. Hello. We were engaged later in the year last year, about the same time we bought this house.
Awesome.
And the way I met her, it was in large part due to Trent, the guy I was talking about earlier, where he was helping me with that area of my life, and the whole dating thing, understanding how to handle things differently, and all of that. And the time that I started like successfully putting a lot more of that into practice was about the time that I met her.
Oh, wow.
So it was completely different. I had a dating profile that was basically set up to repel all the people I didn't want to talk to. It was,
That's smart.
I basically put on there, it's like, hey, I'm looking for entitled princess for future divorce and all sorts of, like, it was a joke. It was a joke. But
and she got it.
She got it. She said, "Hey, I really your bio made me laugh." And I'm like, first thing I sent her was, "Yay, outside validation." And I didn't know that she would. We talked to each other, got to know each other a lot more over time, and she's definitely exactly the kind of person I was looking for.
Yeah.
And we lived an hour away, which was a big deal.
Wow.
So
from each other?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So at Trent's suggestion, I stopped driving around to meet people. She drove an hour to meet me for our first date.
Wow.
And she was great to talk to. I know it's a little controversial. I did not pay for our first date.
Yeah.
I didn't make her pay for me either, of course.
Well,
but
is it different because of dating apps and getting to know people that way instead of like the gentleman pays, or is it just a different world that way?
I think it's a different world, period,
Okay.
because now people can make a thing of it. Like, there's people who can just go out on a different date every night, and it's so easy to meet people because of the internet now. And you start getting a feel when you meet enough people. It's like they do this a lot.
Really? So are they just taking advantage of guys to pay for their dinner?
Yes, I call them foodie calls. Is what I call them.
Yeah, if the waiter and the bartender saw you last night and if they got a first name thing going.
Exactly. Like you get the feeling that this stuff happens a lot.
That's hilarious.
Which is one of those things that are different. So I was talking about my 50-year-old client before who was doing the same things that he did when he was a kid. Well, this is how the world's kind of changed a bit.
Yeah.
So and if she had been repelled from that, it's like, oh, you're supposed to cover the first date because you're a guy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that would have been a sign that she wasn't who I was looking for. It's like it's a different way of kind of handling things than what I was used to, because I was brought up by a single mother, and for that reason, I was taught to treat women a certain way. You hold open the door, you do all these things, and
And that's not cool today?
it's not that it's not cool.
I would be
necessarily.
terrible at this.
Yeah, I know, right? It's not that it's
If
not.
you ever bolt, I gotta hire you.
It's weird. Sorry.
I'm not bolting.
Oh my god. It's not that it's weird. It's just if it's done, if it has a certain energy to it, if it's done in a certain way, then it gives a certain tone today. Because now everybody knows that it's easy to meet people anytime. Like, and that does change the dynamic. So things that were, meant a lot before now have a different tone now, because now that's the way it works.
Okay.
Makes sense? It
would take me a
weird.
minute to get the hang of this.
Yeah, because I love it when he opens up my car door or has
and
me
you know
walk
what?
on the inside of the sidewalk. Or,
And I do those
kind of-
things now, because now me and her are engaged.
We've got this.
I do
agree
those
on.
things a lot, and she appreciates it. But it's just a little different when we first met, to where we're trying to figure out, hey, you always know when you're dating that that they might have another date lined up tomorrow and the day after that, and the day after that, and that's not the way the world used to be.
That is 100%. Okay, I see where you're going with that. Yeah,
it's just a little different. It's a little odd.
Do you try to get to, not that you're doing that anymore because you guys are engaged,
of course,
now, but back in the day when you were still searching for the right one, did you? Like, how did you know? How did you speed date it?
You didn't know. You would do the same thing. I was encouraged to date the same way that a woman does.
Okay.
And I was encouraged to date multiple people at once.
Okay.
And just let people show themselves for who they were going to be, which is exactly what I did at the time.
Yeah.
And she knew. I was honest with everyone. I was like, hey, I'm dating other people.
Yes, I think as long as you're not being slimy about it, it's totally fine.
There was no problem at all.
Honest and transparent.
And at some point, she had an issue with it. And it was about the same time that I was figuring out, you know what? I think I like her better. So,
so it was perfect timing. You guys were both
it was basically perfect timing, yeah. Yeah, at one point it got weird because we went to New Hampshire together, somebody I had met up there at the Porcupine Freedom Festival said, "Oh, so your boyfriend, girlfriend," they used that phrase, and then it got awkward, and then I was like, I probably should define this, because that's when I realized I want that. I just didn't say it yet, so.
To ask her to marry you and to take it to the next level, or that you
no, just to be exclusive.
We need to put this other stuff on the back burner.
Put a label on it.
No, anyway, I have 2 kids.
Oh, nice.
From a previous marriage.
Okay.
And they are amazing twin 5-year-old girls.
And I did invite Nicole to come and join us for the recording session tonight, and she said, "Well, I'm going to hang out and watch the 5-year-olds because they are precious, but they are noisy."
Yes, they would.
So we'll meet them another time, but maybe we can get a picture of them.
Yeah. But she, Nicole's great with the girls. The girls love her.
Oh, good.
And she's fine with all the weird little things having to do. Like, she's actually been to New Hampshire and heard me do these men's groups that I run up there. And she's heard me go over specifics, like, which I don't really want to do here because I don't know how to be taken, but like specifics on, hey, what are some of these quote unquote rules for first dates, or how to handle certain things or whatever, and she's heard them, and she doesn't have a problem with any of that either. She doesn't think it's weird, doesn't think it's creepy at all. So.
Good.
So I want to know more about New Hampshire, the men's group, and the Porcupine Freedom Festival.
I know.
Okay.
Are you okay to talk about that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
so the Free State Project, which is a great group of people, they were an organization that started over 20 years ago with the intention of basically getting a bunch of liberty-loving people to all move to one place in the country and affect change, whether it be by voting or making a difference or whatever, because it all started with this, I believe, Yale student who wrote a paper about how third parties never win and how that might change, and talking about that.
Okay.
And when he wrote this paper, this organization kind of ran with it, and they started getting people to basically sign a contract, saying, hey, once we get to 20,000 signers, then all 20,000 signers and their families will move to the same state and start basically affecting all these laws for positive change when it comes to more liberty in our lifetimes, right?
Okay.
And in 2016, I believe it was February of 2016, they reached their goal. So this mass move happened. A bunch of people moved to New Hampshire. It's the only state where there's no motorcycle helmet laws, no seatbelt laws. You don't even have to have insurance unless you start causing problems, and then they can force you to. But it's the only state where defense attorneys are allowed to inform jurors of their right to nullify laws that they don't like, and all this stuff, right? So it's a very liberty-loving community.
Yeah.
Very much whether people identify as like libertarians or anarchists or whatever. These people Yeah, I know. I'm sounding crazy right now, but
No, you're
we
not.
love it. We love it.
We love crazy.
That's
so
good.
Go.
That's good.
Yeah.
But and they all have a festival, Pork Fest, Porcupine Freedom Festival, that they run up in Lancaster, New Hampshire every year. We all camp out in the mountains.
Oh my gosh.
Lots of kids events, lots of other events, and so anyway, demographically, a lot of these people tend to be men versus women.
Okay.
So there's that I do run a lot of men's groups up there, and it's appropriate. And there's another guy who runs a barbell club up there. He always brings fitness equipment.
Cool.
So do I. We do things together up there.
How often do you do this?
I do it once every year. I just camp out in the mountains for a week.
Yeah.
So
does Nicole go with you?
Yep. And so I usually
And the girls are there? Yeah.
the girl, we might bring the girls with us for the first time this year. We'll see. 5 years old is it's a little difficult, but there's a playground, there's a pool, there's everything. So we'll probably take them. But yeah, I usually run about 10 different events. We get people all together, and we've talked about books up there. Last time we talked about the one of the biggest groups came for a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover. It's a great book to help men with.
You've read that.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great book to help men who typically are like people pleasers and things like
Yeah, I
this.
for sure haven't read that.
Sorry.
Yeah. but anyway, it's just been a great help to a lot of the men. And I've been asked, the first time I did it, I was asked to come back. So I'm going to continue doing that each year.
That's awesome.
That is so awesome. And you had considered moving to New Hampshire when this was all happening. And,
that was before kids.
Oh, that was before. Yep. They change everything, don't they?
They do. They certainly do.
In the most blessed way.
Yeah, they're amazing little girls. I love them.
You have a couple of favorite songs?
Favorite songs?
The Gauntlet by...
Oh, yes. That's I just like songs that sound like, like whether it's a comeback song or like a in a positive way, like a fight song or something. I like that.
And do you play that in the gym?
Yes,
Okay.
That is on the gym's playlist along with a few other ones. I like the songs to just have a positive message and things like that. So that's definitely fits the bill. That song does.
Yeah. Yeah, because you need people to, that gives energy in the room, right?
Yeah.
The different songs. So you have a gym playlist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's up to like 16 hours or something. I really need to put more on because 16 hours, that rotates a little too often. But
does it?
Well,
Is it the whole day that you're at the gym?
Yes. So you're not likely to hear the same song twice, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
But you hear you hear a lot of the same
Especially
stuff.
for you, because you are in there. Are you in? What are your hours? And do you want to tell people how they can find you?
I was going to say, do you want more clients? Do you want more? How can we use in this format say, here's how we help you get what you want?
So yeah, as far as the in-person clients, if people are local to the Dayton area, they can reach out to me at the website, libertyfitnessonline.com. They can also call the number, which is 937-750-3112. Those are the top two ways that people tend to get in touch with me.
Okay.
Which gym? Where are you?
I'm actually in Beaver Creek near the intersection of Fairfield and 35. A close friend of mine, he's been a friend of mine for a long time. He owns the gym up there. I kind of helped choose some of the equipment and stuff like that.
Nice.
So it's
Kind of in that Lafino's Plaza area.
Yes. So that gym that's in there, that's his gym. That's where I work out.
Next to the Axe Place.
Yes.
All right. I know right where you're
Absolutely.
at.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the gym. That's for in person. Online, people can reach out to me the same way and just tell me they're interested in online. But once I launch that, a lot of people are going to be coming through the new website and through the form there is what's going to happen there.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely that'll work out that way. And then they set up a time with you to come in, and they do like a intake forms.
I always do a free assessment.
Okay.
I like figuring out if there's any compensations, contraindications, whatever. We always make sure that we know where their limits are.
Okay.
Not just so we don't surpass them, obviously,
Right.
but also so things are challenging yet doable. I don't want to give somebody just a workout that makes them feel like their heart rate was up for a while. I want them to get consistent results right out of the gate. I want them to get those newbie gains where it's like, oh wow, I keep on getting stronger each time I come in. Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to work when you start.
Do you help them with nutrition too?
Absolutely. Especially since that the program I talked about earlier, where I took extra training to make sure that I was helping people with their nutrition in a habit-based way, in order to affect change for them.
Right.
So if somebody comes in and they're already used to, they're used to, going into competitions and they want help with water manipulation and all that, I can help them with that. But that's not the average person. The average person just needs to, be able to control their intake and be able to get what they need to move forward, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Water manipulation. What is that?
Oh God. So so
I'm really into hydration, so I'm very curious about this.
So it's not as so if you've ever known somebody who did wrestling and they suddenly took down their sodium and their carb intake just to lose as much water as fast as possible.
Right before.
Well, yeah, it gets much more complicated when you're doing bodybuilding because you're trying to retain certain types of water and lose other types. So you might suddenly take up your carbs while lowering your sodium.
Oh, okay.
Like it's a weird way. Like they want to look as big as possible.
It's a whole crazy science.
It is crazy. It's super crazy. So yeah.
So they up their carbs but lower their sodium.
Well, that's an example of how someone might do that. But yeah.
And then it makes the muscles stand out more because
while still looking ripped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that would be a science all on its own. Right?
Yeah. So that's on the more complicated side. Most people don't care about that. They don't want to know about that.
They just want to get toned
so there's different
stronger.
Levels. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But you can do it all apparently.
I can do it all. If something's too far out of the norm for me, I might refer out, but I always talk to people about that. Yeah. I
love it. And then you guys, once you determine what their wellness goals are, then you set up a schedule.
Oh yeah.
For them to come in?
Yeah. On average, I see each of my clients only 2 times a week. And I'm proud of that because it's all about efficiency. If somebody, I have one client who's the CEO of a large company in Beaver Creek, and he doesn't have almost any time on his hands. So if he can only make it in twice a week, and he still has to get results only doing twice a week. So all of my clients, all of them, they see results with that very, very limited time frame. It's an intense workout when they come in, but
got to make it count.
At the same time, they're getting exactly what they want out of it. Yeah. So it's not like a split where they're doing, chest one day and, arms another or anything that, because that wouldn't work for people like that.
Yeah, because they'd have to be in there every day then, right?
Yeah, well, maybe not every day, but most days. And I'm proud of being efficient. It's efficient, flexible workout programs for my clients.
I
working smarter rather
love
than
that.
harder.
That's so smart. What other questions do you have, babe? I just wanted to make sure that people
it's just good to know we've got somebody in our
what...
community who's focused on the things you've described.
I know.
I think it's just such a huge gift. And we met, John, not accidentally, but you came in to pick up Nicole's gift.
Yeah.
In the office.
Living well, giving well.
Yeah.
I wanted to say hi to you, but you seemed so busy. I was like, hey, I've heard so much about you.
Well, it's one of our, smarter, not harder. And then our daughter, are we going to talk about that?
Sure.
Yeah, well, sure. If you like.
John trains one of our daughters, and so she's like, "Hey, you should have my guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, we should have your guy."
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your focus. I appreciate your intensity on the project. I got to go to this porcupine thing. That's going to happen.
You like that? Yeah.
You might love it. From what I've heard about you, they're probably your people too.
Yeah,
they are your people, babe.
I'm going to do a little homework when we're done here.
Yeah. It's a fun event. It's one of the top ways that they grew to the numbers that they have up there. So
I believe it.
It's
I believe it absolutely.
It's a great group of people.
Do you have any type of things that you offer for new clients to come in? You said that you do a complimentary consultation basically with them.
Well, you kind of have to because you have to know where people are at and
if it's a good match.
Exactly.
It's like speed dating.
So yeah, that's always going to be free. As far as people coming in, I mean, it's the only thing that I can say that I would offer above and beyond what people are used to from a trainer is, obviously I can work around people's issues very, very easily. I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of being able to do a whole lot, get a whole lot of results with a very small time commitment. And because a lot of what I do is online, I am able to move people around and stay flexible with their schedule too.
Nice.
So there's a high chance that if someone says, hey, can I come in and later today instead, it'll be like, yeah, sure. You know?
That's perfect. Well, because time is so precious and you know, we're so limited in it and we're busier than ever. So being able to fit people in, that's a gift too.
Yeah. So that's kind of where things stand out. As far as like specifics for people coming in, there's all sorts of things I do for referrals, but that's a completely different matter.
Awesome. Anything else that you can think of that you'd like to add?
No, just I'm glad to finally meet you too.
I know, we're so glad too. Yes, we really are. This
It's
worked out
nice
great.
to be able to talk to you.
And we're so thankful that you decided to join us and that this this time was really fun
I think it's
together.
going to be great for everybody connected to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll let you do the
What should they
subscribe,
do?
follow.
No,
the outro.
The outro.
You're gonna split it up again, half and half.
No.
No, we're not. We're just going to say yes. If you liked what you
100% no.
saw tonight or today, then you can like, subscribe, and follow. And we appreciate you. And we'll talk to you soon.
See you next time.
Bye. Okay, now we'll work on outros.
So we got
for
the
next
intro nicely, but we blew the outro.
week. Usually we don't do so bad on that.
Oh, well.